So if you don't know, I'm light-skinned. Half white, half black on my mom's side. Now, it's been tough for me to say that because nowadays I feel out of touch with my mom. I don't owe anyone an explanation, but all you need to know is that just because people are your family, it doesn't mean that you need to be around them. But contrary to what my avatar may lead you to believe, I'm not that dark-skinned. But I do know deep down in my heart that I'm black and I'm proud. But for a long while, especially since I was a kid, I was always unsure if I actually was. And growing up, it didn't help that I had people telling me, "You're not black enough." And look, growing up, I've heard stories and seen shit around black people being put down because of their color and being in different groups and even being in a Time for a Change protest in my senior year. I gotta say, when you've had to deal with messed up shit with people you fuck with, it felt like you've had people around you like a family. But when you had people telling you in a school full of Asian, Hispanic, and dark-skinned kids that you weren't black enough, nigga, it felt like it was only happening to you. And look, I'm not gonna act like when it came to being oppressed or dealing with racial injustice that my life was the pinnacle of suffering on that end. Because it wasn't. Despite all that, I still managed to make friends, even if most of them before high school ended up being pieces of shit. And I'm not gonna act like the person I was like 10 or 11 years ago is the same person that you see today. I got my ass kicked on a weekly basis, and like 6 out of 10 times, it was on me. Mostly because I kept saying nigga like how I say fuck now. I don't do it much anymore because I've just gotten used to not saying it, you know? I wanted to make this video to essentially drop any kind of character I may be playing and be real for a second about who I am. And this is something I've had to internally deal with for such a long time. Even to the point of believing that me being light-skinned was potentially a lie and I was just white. That was years ago though. I don't feel like that anymore. And I say this because I know my family's watching. Thanks for Sonic Frontiers, by the way. I'm really enjoying it. Now, I can't be the voice of every black man or woman out there. Hell, I can't even be the voice of every light-skinned nigga either. So, to be clear, I'll mainly be talking as a voice on how I feel about being black, or how I feel about the representation in fiction, as well as a fun little story that was thanks to my friend and fellow artist, Dreamer. These are my experiences, this is my story, and this is my reasoning. Putting some personal history aside, I love being black. I won't let anyone tell me otherwise, it's just a part of who I am, and that won't change. I will admit, as a kid, I was an absolute dumbass, man. In a school where I was one of the only light-skinned kids, dude, some of the fights were just me being fucking stupid. I said nigga like it was a catchphrase, like, how I got fucked up as much as I did and came out like this, bro, I don't even fucking know. I'm like Vegeta, talking shit then absolutely getting clapped. But yeah, I did meet some good people, man. I had this one dude since elementary school, we just vibed with each other. Like, we said we don't talk too much anymore. Like, last I saw, he was helping out his family with art at a convention. I'd like to hit him up someday, get a drink or something, just chill though, you know? My childhood is just one giant book of suffering, and that one dude was one of the only good parts of it I love. No homo. Outside of that, when it came to the stuff I watched, as much as I love anime, I'ma be real, well, it's getting better now. Some of this shit back in the day was just fucked up, man. And even then, there was just... wow. Like, seriously. There was an anime more recently with, like, just a scene of girls absolutely doing blackface. Like, yo, what the fuck? Like, justify it however the fuck you want, that shit ain't cool.
Shinichiro Watanabe, the creator of Cowboy Bebop, said that when creating, he paid a lot of attention to skin color. He said he wanted lots of characters without white skin. And if people weren't used to that, he wanted to make them think about it a little bit. Fullmetal Alchemist features a dark-skinned anti-hero who rebels against the state because of the unjust killings of his people. Carol and Tuesday is about music, but it still manages to bring up themes like police brutality and immigration without detracting from the themes of the show. In One Piece, the leader of the Sun Pirates is a revolutionary that frees slaves with a do-rag on!
Okay, of course, there are a number of dark-skinned characters in anime that honestly have a lot of going for them. I know there's a number of them that are fantasy races like elves, but hey, at least there's some level of inclusion. Side note, the new Dragon Ball movie I'm taking as a dub for this, because compared to the amount of times someone black was drawn in this series, man, this just makes me happy.
Black edits exist primarily because of the lack of representation of black animated characters in animated media. And if you say, we got plenty of representation, Stop the cap.
Definitely can't go without talking about the Boondocks either. Like, to this day, it's still one of my favorite series. Minus the last season. But the show was a good part of black culture. I know on the outside, to many people, the show is just seen as...
Nigga, you gay. You gay. Y'all niggas are gay. Nigga, you gay. That's gay. You said the word nigga 46 times yesterday.
Nigga, hush.
But looking into it, there's always been more to the story. More that's on the subtler side as well. For example, there's this whole episode on prison, and pretty much every single joke you've heard about prison is brought up here. But in the end, when it all starts to wrap up, one of the prisoners stays back and just says this to Huey.
You know, I spend a lot of time, thinking about all the shit I could have done. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I think I could have been the motherfucking president. Shit. Nigga, I wish things had been different. I mean, I'd do anything in the motherfucking world just for things to be different. I guess I'm just gonna be raping niggas' asses for the rest of my motherfucking life.
There was more to the show than just the obvious, and it didn't hold back. It's still being talked about in recent years for a good reason. Also, the YouTube Goldfro posted this video about Boondocks, and I'd recommend anyone interested to watch it. He goes more into detail about the show than I ever could. It's not just animation that has focus on representation, because movies and games do this as well, such as Spider-Man. Some of you already know this, but I got the chance to play Miles Morales some time ago, and it sits in my heart as one of my favorite games. I've had arguments with people who say it's not as good as the 2018 game, it's shorter than the 2018 game, and shouldn't be $50 compared to the 2018 game. And look, I love Peter Parker. Nothing will ever change that, and the 2018 game absolutely rocks, man. But, one, I got to play the game for like $15. And two, I had fun playing as Miles, man, and absolutely seeing him turn from trying to be like Spider-Man in coming into his own as the iconic superhero. Like, the game was absolutely awesome in the story department for me. I loved it. And three, as someone who grew up with some pretty pasty superheroes, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Fantastic Four. Okay, I just got a call from the police department asking me about, like, an offer or whatnot and everything, man. Just... like, that has never happened to me before while I'm recording. Like, usually when I'm recording anime or whatnot, my phone is silent. But the moment I start talking about black, I get a call from the police department. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, where the fuck was I? Alright. Yeah, so, for when it came to superheroes growing up, honestly, I had some pretty pasty heroes. Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Fantastic Four, Hulk, Iron Man, and a bunch more. And I cannot lie. As someone who's a minority, Miles Morales is an absolute gem of an icon, as well as wonderful representation. And the game around him, even if the criticism is valid to a degree, is still a wonderful title, and I love that he got his own game. You can disagree with me all you want on that, but I'm not sorry to say he's a Spider-Man. Also, side note, I know this doesn't mean much, but the fact that I had this argument with two white people, yeah, I can't help but feel like this is an uncomfortable situation for them in retrospect. I mean, I don't mean to be that guy, but circumstances are a bit too noticeable. In terms of, like, not-so-recent media as well, the Telltale games The Walking Dead focused on a older, convicted black man named Lee who's taken to prison until an unknown bystander is hit and the car loses control. The rest of the game focuses on Lee's survival through the apocalypse along with several other people from different backgrounds, including a little black girl named Clementine, who would later on become the face of the series to the end. The relationship between Lee and Clementine goes between close friends, mentor and student, and even father and daughter at times. And it's one of the best stories I've seen in fiction, at the very least, very emotional. These two characters had, and always have, stuck out of my head towards good representation in fiction, especially since both of them portray different age groups. One a middle-aged man with a past that has some sore spots to say the least, and one a little girl who grows and matures with time. In terms of films, I went to go see this film almost 10 years ago now called The Butler, and it's a film that tackles African-American livelihood and history up to the Obama administration, and it doesn't hold back on the ugly. Speaking of, I saw a film on my own a few years ago, Django Unchained, which was about a black bounty hunter searching for his wife in a time before the abolishment of slavery and the Civil War. This is my belief towards the past and race, is that you can't be selective with what you see. Both of these matters need to be accepted for the good, the bad, and the fucking horrendous, and learned from to prevent it being repeated. Honestly, what I learned in these two films was far more about black culture and African American history than I ever did in public school. And of course, I have seen Black Panther, and yes, I do love the film. Heart goes out to Chadwick Boseman, man. And I'll leave off on this story. Some time ago, a friend of mine, Dreamer, came up with this fun idea to make gender-bent versions of our avatars. Initially, it just seemed fun, so I did. And then I had the idea to make her more dark-skinned to better represent both sides of myself, especially since it's supposed to be a drawing of us that's not exactly the same. Eventually, I decided to continue drawing her. Of course, my favorite design I did for her is the one I made for my art piece, Birds of a Feather, which was a piece that was dedicated to illustrating my happiness. And after some touch-ups, it's become the design I use for my online appearance to this day. And it'll stay like this for a long while for 3 reasons in particular: artistic expression, self-love, happiness. Yeah, I'm not a woman, and this isn't some type of under-the-radar message I'm trying to send of me wanting to transition. Don't let anyone say otherwise or weave it into a negative light. Yoko is my artistic expression, self-love, and happiness illustrated. So just know that at any time you see this avatar playing games, on social media, Discord, discussing anime or manga, or even in videos like this where I am more down to earth and real, understand that that is me carrying what I have been searching for in life since I graduated high school.
There's gonna come a time where people are gonna put you down for how you look, how you feel, your opinions on matters. But at the end of the day, the only opinion that should really matter is your own. Don't let other people put you down because of what you do, who you are, what you think. Just take a deep breath, look at yourself in the mirror, and just say, screw the world, I love me for me, I am who I am, and no one else is going to fix that. And no one else is going to change that. Thank you for your time, have a lovely day.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste. That goes double for mental health. Think happy thoughts, count your blessings, and above all, love yourself.
I don't care if people hate me after this. And I don't care if people want to tell me I'm wrong. Because I'm not doing any of this to please them. I'm not doing this for some fucking publicity stunt or for the sake of clout. I'm doing this to send one simple message. Black is beautiful, and you are too. Thank you.
We like, oh, 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 oh.